Hello and a very warm welcome to our Twinkle of Christmas Masterclass. I'm Claire German, Managing Director at Design Centre Chelsea Harbour. In this virtual format, we're keeping our community engaged and inspired wherever they are. We're bringing together the best in talent as they share insider knowledge, decorating secrets and tricks of the trade. Everything may be different this year, but by the magic of technology, we're bringing the spirit of Christmas to your home. Wellness is high on the agenda this season and winter calls for nourishing food. I'm delighted to introduce Rhaya Jordan, resident nutritionist at Daylesford, a qualified naturopath, nutritionist and herbalist with over 30 years experience. She teaches regularly at the Daylesford Cookery School and consults at the Bamford Haybarn Spa at the Berkeley Hotel. Get ready for some nurturing recipes that will reset the balance. So over to you, Rhaya, and thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you, Design Centre, for hosting today's masterclass. My name's Rhaya. I am the consultant nutritionist for Daylesford Organics, and I'm going to talk to you about eating healthily in this season. And to begin, I want to pretty much confront a big divide in the way that we think about food that I've come across in Britain, and that is a difference between food that is healthy, think about salads and green juices, and food that is not healthy, which is all the warming, luscious, rich, stick with your ribs winter food, and that the two things don't cross over. And what I want to hopefully convince you of today is that it's exactly in these warming, nourishing, comforting foods that we can build some of our best winter resilience and health. And I want to start with a very simple, humble dish of dahl. So spiced lentils have a huge number of health properties that's very easy to underestimate when we start thinking about, superfoods and functional mushrooms and these other things that we associate with high level health. Whereas in fact, this simple kitchen cupboard staple has been shown to balance blood sugars and reduce people's risk of type 2 diabetes. It's been shown, because of its high fiber content, and we don't eat enough in Britain, we really do need to eat more fiber. That fiber content not only feeds the gut microbiome, and the gut microbiome, or the bacteria in your gut, plays a huge role in your immune resilience, but it also feeds the cells that line your colon and helps keep them healthy and well and protect you from colon cancer. Lentils have been associated for a long time now with weight loss because they're so substantial, because that fiber is so fortifying. It can help you with sugar cravings. It can help you with the munchies, with restlessness, with irritability. It's a wonderful, nourishing food. And then on top of that, we have the health benefits of the spices that you might add to that. The main one and most famous being turmeric. So turmeric is anti-inflammatory, but we also know that the bacteria in our digestive system also love turmeric and seem to thrive when we eat that. And you can spend a lot of money on very, very high level anti-inflammatory turmeric supplements, but actually weaving it into your diet in a way that you enjoy is really, really useful. I'm particularly personally fond of dahl because my mother-in-law is Sri Lankan and my children were weaned on that. It's considered one of the ideal early childhood foods, and particularly with this impact that it has on a healthy gut microbiome, I can see why it would be so useful as a children's meal. You can have it very mild, you can have it very spicy, and adding a little bit of fat into the lentils, that can be in the form of coconut oil or butter or ghee, helps you absorb the active ingredients of the turmeric really effectively. So just in a simple bowl of spiced lentils that would cost you maybe 50p to make, you have anti-cancer, anti-aging, blood sugar balancing, prebiotic sort of explosion of nutrient benefits, and it's something that will stay with you, be warming and really nourishing. So reconsider lentils, reconsider dahl as part of your winter wellness. Now I'd like to talk to you about chicken broth. And in particular, there's a beautiful broth we have at Daylesford that we've supplied the recipe for, which is a broth with pearl barley and with watercress. And broth is such a delicious, nourishing food. So firstly, if you were feeling after Christmas indulgences or perhaps quite a bit of at-home comfort eating, which I know has been an issue for a lot of us, instead of thinking, oh, I have to do something really extreme like a juice fast, which I love, by the way, but just not for midwinter, what you can do is have a light day of broths, or use broths in the evening as I don't usually talk about calories, but if you want something that is lower in calories, easy to digest and really soothing for your digestive system, something like this broth would be a perfect thing for you to pick up. It's made over a number of hours, and you can do this very, very easily yourself in the oven. Just put the oven on low with chicken bones, water, vegetables and some herbs, and leave it in your oven overnight at about 100 degrees, and you can make your own slow cooked chicken broth with very, very little effort on your own part. Or you can pick it up from Daylesford pre-made, and a lot of independent butchers sell it now. And the main ingredient in it is probably going to be collagen. Now, we make our own collagen, but having extra collagen can be incredibly soothing to the gut, particularly if you have something like IBS or a lot of digestive problems. It's very nourishing, it's very warming, it's very satisfying, which are the key things to food that is going to make you feel well. It has to be satisfying, it has to be warming and comforting. And this collagen is broken down in the gut and then supplies the raw material for repairing your skin, for repairing your nails, for repairing your joints. So it's a wonderful food for anybody with chronic inflammation, with anything to do with, even with autoimmune problems. It can be a soothing, light, simple food. Pearl barley is a very traditional British grain that we eat a lot less of, but when you cook pearl barley, a bit like chia seeds, if you've ever used chia, it has a very, very soft fibre in it, almost a thickening, almost gloopy fibre, and that is also very soothing to the gut and is associated, pearl barley, like oats, with reducing cholesterol levels. So it is, in herbal medicine, we'd call it a demulcent, which is like a soothing, coating, comforting, anti-inflammatory property in pearl barley. And there's very, very old recipes using pearl barley with lemon as a drink to help soothe things like cystitis and other inflammations. So pearl barley is in itself not just a traditional romantic ingredient in things like Scotch broth and this chicken broth, but it also has this lovely soothing, healing effect on the digestive system. And then there's watercress as well. So kale is possibly our most famous green, but the attention has gone off this beautiful British green watercress, which is in fact possibly even more nutrient dense than kale. It's very, very rich in iron. That mustardy flavour in watercress has a great stimulating effect on the gut and on digestion, and it's one of the most useful, nutritious greens, and it's perfect for winter soups. So it's very famous in a soup on its own, but adding it into chicken broth, you start getting the peppery qualities and the high mineral content of watercress. You've got the lovely soothing demulcent qualities of the pearl barley, and you've got the collagen in the bone broth. So a real gut healing food and a lovely respite from some of the richer sort of party foods that are around all around Christmas and New Year, and that we might still be comfort eating. It's a great sort of antidote to that. And you can spend a day or even 2 days just on chicken broth if you do want to have a really quiet reset midwinter detox, so to speak. It's one of the perfect foods for you to choose. I'd like to introduce you to a drink that is very, very traditional but has died out in recent years. And it's another one of these simple, almost cupboard staples. So easy to put together, but once again, the nutrient benefits of it, I think, are underestimated, and that's a shrub, sometimes known as a drinking vinegar. We have recipes for shrubs going back to the 14th century in Britain, and it was once something that would be traditionally made around harvest time from fruit that was maybe just a whisker overripe. And essentially, you would put together something sweet like maybe some sugar, and in this case, we're going to talk about honey and raw honey, some berries or some fruit, and some vinegar. And then it's allowed to ferment very gently for a day or two, or in some cases up to a week. And the winter shrub that we've chosen for you is a cranberry one, because cranberries are about in winter, and they're delicious, they're astringent. The pigment in cranberries is a potent antioxidant as well, and it makes it a beautiful winter Christmassy shrub to have. Now, I don't know if any of you have tried to eat a raw cranberry. They're not great. They're pretty astringent and hard and chewy. They're much, much better when they're stewed. And stewing, in the case of cranberries, doesn't destroy the properties. So you can stew them maybe with a little bit of orange zest if you want to, just until the cranberries break open and have lost that really harsh, astringent property. And in our recipes, we've recommended that you combine it with a really beautiful local honey. We have a number of raw honeys available at Daylesford, and there are more and more honeys available online. And raw honey itself also has a number of health-giving properties. It is very soothing to the gut, very cleansing, it's antiseptic, it's great on the skin as well as in the body, and you need that sweetness to feed the probiotics that are going to be part of making your shrub. So you sweeten your stewed cranberries and then you add vinegar to them. Now, the balance that you get of the in this shrub is a sort of sweet and sour flavor that mellows over the next couple of days as you keep it. And what happens is the sweetness in the honey or in the brown sugar or whatever sweetener you choose to use provides food for the probiotics in the vinegar. So you need to choose a proper raw vinegar as well, like we've recommended Daylesford's cider vinegar. Cider vinegar, because it's made from apples, is particularly lovely in shrubs. And you end up with a cordial that you can then dilute with, say, I recommend sparkling water. It gives you a lovely, festive, bright drink to have. And even though you've sweetened your shrub with honey, you don't get anything like the hit of sugar that you would from a fizzy drink that has no probiotic or no digestive properties. So vinegar is a very, very interesting food. Vinegar has been shown to change your blood sugars. So in some research that was done giving people with diabetes vinegar before they ate, it showed that their blood sugar was much, much more stable even if they ate very sweet food. So vinegar is one of my secret weapons during the whole sort of Christmas and winter season, because it can knock the top off your sugar swings. And the other thing about a shrub is that it is it's acid. It's slightly sharp and sour, depending on how you make it as well. But you want to keep that little bit of adult interest in there, that little bit of complexity to the flavor, because that stimulates your digestive juices and helps improve the way that you digest protein in your meal. So you might be holding a lovely festive cranberry shrub, but it's actually providing you with probiotics because vinegar is a naturally fermented food, and helping keep your blood sugar stable and helping you digest your meal. And I've had sort of very, very big nights where I've been out much later than I've wanted to, and there's been a whole pile of very heavy food, which is absolutely what happens in winter, and I've drunk shrubs for the night, and it's been, for me, like taking digestive enzymes all evening. I wake up the next morning feeling great, feeling like your bloating is reduced. It's a lovely, lovely tonic. And once you make one shrub, and I really encourage you, of any of the recipes, please make the shrub. Once you've made one shrub, you now have a template for making shrubs all year. And so our winter shrub is with cranberries, but you can use leftover dried fruit. You can use some winter pears that are not quite what they could be. If you fall into the trap of coming home with some summer fruit that's been flown in from the other side of the planet, and you know, sometimes we do, and it's furry and not worth eating, turn it into a shrub, because the mixture of honey and vinegar brings out the flavor even in depressing winter peaches. So shrubs are a wonderful, wonderful tonic. They can be made delicious for children as well. So if you want a party drink for little children that's not sweet, not full of E numbers, and actually know that this drink will do their gut, their little tummies, some good, then a shrub is the perfect food. And I think once you start making them, I'm really hoping you won't stop all winter. And for those of you that are not mad about things like, say, sauerkraut, but you want to get in on eating some fermented food for improving your gut microbiome, then shrubs can be just the most wonderful way to begin, and perfect as a sparkling winter drink. And some people are, you know, not adverse to adding perhaps a little splash of gin to that, if that's what you fancy, because ultimately we all know a little of what you fancy does you good. So thank you very much for coming along to our masterclass today. If you swipe up, you'll find recipes for dahl, for chicken broth, and also for the winter shrub. And I'm wishing you a very, very wonderful new year. And thank you again to the Design Centre for hosting this masterclass.